Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Ben Bateman.
And I'm Andrew Ghai.
And we are
the Action Guys.
But you also might know us as Team Freaking Action.
Yeah, you freaking nerds.
Just kidding. I'm sorry if you're listening. That was loud.
Yeah, we're here, guys. This is the Action Guys. And today we are going to provide you with a very special episode, something we've wanted to do for a long time. And we found that this was our best possible opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
This is an oral history of Team Action. So I'm going to explain exactly what that is really quickly for you guys. Team Action was formed back at the beginning of 2017 in the Schmodown. Drew and I have done lots of action-related shows together for many moons, and we felt as the year was nearing an end and Spectacular is around the corner. In fact, I think it might even go up the same day you guys are hearing this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think so.
We wanted to reflect on our history as Team Action because with traveling and our work schedules, Drew wasn't able to be in the team's tournament at all.
Wasn't spectacular at all.
Yeah, I got to do the Who's the Boss stuff with Riley.
Yep.
And we just haven't really been in the same room as Team Action in anything other than our Patreon. We have a patreon.com/Team Action where we do behind the scenes stuff for the small number of you guys that want to do that. But we haven't gotten to talk to you guys publicly as Team Action for a long time.
It's crazy that a small number has turned into almost 200 people in that Patreon.
It's amazing.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah. We want to give you guys a brief history and kind of let you guys know how it came to be, what happened, the conversations with Christian. And we're going to hop into that right after the jump and right after this. Cheers. So cheers to you, man.
Cheers,
This
buddy.
is not coffee.
Things to cover first. Things to cover first, nerds.
This is how it goes.
First of all, why do we talk like that?
I don't know.
That's our douchebag voice.
There's a thing that started that first day for some reason, and we just kind of both. Do you remember back in the early days when we had a small Brooklyn accent we would do?
Yeah. It was
really
kind of
know
New
why.
York or whatever. And then
And Brandon Hanna, my intern, does that voice. He does the old school Team Action.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm Ben Bateman.
That's so true. And also, one of the favorite things is when we're recording our Team Action content for Patreon, we'll finish, God, it hurts to talk like that. My voice hurts.
Yeah.
I hate it.
So yeah, guys, couple quick pieces of housekeeping. This is the Action Guys. If you're watching this for the first time because you saw us, this is a show that we do every single Friday here on Collider.
Yep.
And we take a subject, a movie-related subject, a sort of tangential one. We come up with a sort of argument discussion. We break it all down. We've done a ton of cool stuff so far. You're probably hearing this. This is the 6th episode or 7th that's gone up.
Yeah, should be something like that. Last week we broke down our definitive Spider-Man ranking of all the movies up to Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep. And we felt like this was kind of an opportunity to end the year by thanking all of you guys for everything in seasons 4 and 5 with Schmodown.
Yeah.
We never, when you don't really get to be on camera together because of schedules and storylines, whatever, you don't really get to do that. And
and a lot of the time when we are on camera to do together, it's not for us to just kind of talk about the history of our relationship and where the team came from. And we feel very honored to be here at Collider, having our own show, The Action Guys now, because we've been a fan of them for a long time, and we're going to get into that when we talk about the history of. So we also figured that since this is not a normal episode, this is not like an episode that if this is your first time listening.
This is a special episode really just for you guys as Schmodown fans, but it also kind of explain the Action brand and where that brand came from. So I think let's just, jump straight into a couple shout outs and then go into it. If you guys want to follow along with the show, you can find me at Ben Bateman Media. We have a Twitter for it called @TeamActionShow.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Andrew Ghai on Instagram and Twitter. And we also have, of course, Facebook fan groups that you can check out. Action Army the Action Army fan group would be perfect for this show.
Yeah, subscribe, comment on YouTube here. We're on the Collider Podcast Network. And
we'd like to say thank you to our unofficial sponsor, Jameson.
Yeah.
You could sponsor us.
They're in white cups. And then also, guys, be sure to comment, subscribe on the iTunes feed. We are on the Movie Talk feed here on Collider, which is a great honor for us, and we're very, very excited to be here. So thank you, everybody. And thank you to every single Action Army fan that has supported us in this last year and a half. It's been quite the journey, and I suggest we get started. So
Yeah, and to every Movie Trivia Schmodown fan out there that hates us because that means we're doing our job. So let's get into... I'm just going to say the name, Library Ale House, Santa Monica, California.
Christian and Mark and those guys, they'll talk about meeting at California Pizza Kitchen all those years ago.
Yeah.
That's our CPK.
This is our CPK. We worked in this. You'd been working there for a few years when I started
a couple
already.
years, yeah.
You were like the cool dude. You were like the cool dude that I wanted to be friends with because I could tell you did your job differently than everyone else.
Yeah. He means a bad job.
Well, no, it was like you did the least that you could with still doing a good job. I was like, this guy's like a cool waiter. And then we started talking about movies.
We played this game that I had played with my brother growing up. And the idea of the game is you name an actor. or an actress, but somebody
Well,
with
they
a lot
did
of
both.
movies that we knew about.
Yeah.
And you go back and forth one at a time naming a theatrically released movie they'd been in, unless in the case of Seagal and Van Damme, and you go one at a time until somebody gets stumped.
Yeah, until you just can't name another movie. So we did everyone you could think of: the Cruises, the Clooneys, the Pitts, the Julia Robertses, like every single person.
And these would go on for whole shifts, 6 hours.
Yeah.
Like you'd get like 70 movies into De Niro or something. And Drew was like one of the only people I had ever met at that point that could actually hang.
Yeah, and it's same with you. You were one of the only people I'd ever met in my life where I was like, this guy actually knows a lot. Like, he's not one of those people that's just like, oh yeah, no, I really know a lot about movies. He was like, holy shit, this guy knows.
Because this was like 2011 probably.
Yeah.
And you had worked at Blockbuster in like 2008 maybe? Something
I worked there
that.
for like 3 years in college.
Yeah.
And you had just been a huge movie fan because your brother and your dad.
Yeah, I just grew up going to the video store, loitering, you know.
For countless hours loitering in video stores.
Yeah, my experience, you know, you'd obviously been raised by women, basically, sister's mom, and I had been raised by my dad, who would take me to see like Memento when I was like 10. Like he would take me to very R-rated movies.
I would see like Clueless and
Yeah.
Santa Claus and
I would laugh. And then, you know, my brother was really into like the Coen brothers and Tarantino, so I watched a lot of that stuff.
I didn't even know like directors.
Yeah.
Like that's why, again, like as we get older and we look at our movie trivia knowledge, it's like I crush it in a lot of family sections.
Yeah.
And then like specific directors and crime movies from like a generation before I do.
Yeah. And so we were talking movies, and a few years later, I mean, we probably were doing it for 3 years, just like being friends. We weren't really friends for a while.
Because like we both had relationships that we were like really into,
Yeah.
and like also just like
I was also into the girl that you were in a relationship with, but you didn't know that till a long time later.
you loved her. You really did.
She was pretty.
And then we were like, you kept talking because I had thought you wanted to be an actor like me for so long.
I kind of did.
You kind of did, but then you had this moment where you're like, I think I want to just talk to people about things that I love, about things that they love.
I got into hosting as kind of an accident. And so I did with sports stuff. And within a year or two of that, I had gotten over at AfterBuzz TV, Maria Menounos' company, dear friend of mine, and somebody who I've really...
Cheers to AfterBuzz and all that they've done for both of our careers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so thankful and like such an inspiration, those guys. Kevin Undergaro, who is Maria's husband and the other creator of AfterBuzz TV. And they had this brand called Popcorn Talk.
Right.
And
But hold on, you're forgetting about Gotham's Finest.
Oh, yeah.
So that was...
Do you guys want to see Drew in a shirt
Don't
that
do
is...
this. Don't do this. The shirt that I wore on our other show later on that fit me so differently.
You had shed.
I had shed a whole layer of skin and fat.
Yeah. The winter was over.
The winter was over.
Winter. We had been doing improv. And we had like Drew was living on my couch for a while after going through a breakup.
It's good dark times.
Yeah, I'm trying to like not spend too much time and fast forward through these stories.
But it's so basically what happened was you would talk to me at the restaurant one day about how you wanted to do something, and if we love movies as much as we do, let's just create content on camera. Everyone's doing it, but what's something that no one else is doing? And you had just started AfterBuzz, and you were like,
no, I hadn't.
Right, it was before then. You were like saying how after shows have become like this thing.
Yeah, we were like Talking Dead and Talking Bad. Like people do this, and so we were like, well, what's a show? Gotham's about to come out.
We love Batman. Like, let's do an after show.
So we like literally got a friend of mine who had a studio space and a camera to help us shoot an after show. We did like a 10-minute after show. We tried to learn how to edit on Premiere. We stayed up all night.
We would stay up. We would finish the episode would air from 9 to 10.
Yeah.
We would tape from like 10 to 11:30, and then you and I would edit till like 5 or 6 in the morning on someone else's computer.
We did like 3 of these and burnt out. But what happened was a friend of mine who used to work for Maker, I sent a video to, and he referred me to AfterBuzz because that's what they were doing.
Okay.
And so we stopped doing Gotham's Finest, but I started doing an after show for this show called The 100 on CW.
Yeah.
And within 6 months, they were like, we're looking for shows for the Popcorn Talk Network, which was a kind of a schmoes related thing, actually. And I said to Drew, like, I want to pitch this action movie show. Do you want to like develop it? Basically, should we develop this idea and like
and I was like
these guys?
I was like I guess like it sounds cool enough. Like when you and I kind of worked on a format for a while, they had me like audition, and I remember my audition was just like you told me it was like you just need to talk straight into the camera for like 6 minutes on a movie you love. And like why you like it. Right? And I talked about Gladiator for like, and I remember it was like. I did it at your house. Yeah. It was tough.
You had effectively no on-camera experience at this point. Almost none.
Yeah, especially none as a host.
Yeah.
At all. And so like I had you like go in the other room.
Because you were nervous.
Because I was nervous. Yeah. But then you ended up coming out because I kept screwing up and having to do it over and over.
Yeah.
And so like Yeah, and so I sent in the tape, and like I even remember, and also our buddy Stephen Lemieux, who's the executive producer, you were like, yeah, he was like, it's not exactly what I wanted, but I can tell that he's enthusiastic enough. So I essentially got the gig.
We were very green as hosts. I had a year longer. I had about a year and a half more experience than you at that point, but I was still kind of learning the craft. And we did Air Force One as the pilot episode of Action Movie Anatomy with our friend Haggerty, who's at that point had just gotten back from working on Jurassic World. He'd be AD on that, or second.
He'd already done Iron Man and
all
things
these
like
movies.
that. Yeah, he's huge.
So he guested on the first episode ever of Air Force One, and some of the games we still play, like Thesis Statement, but some of them we created later.
Yep.
And so we did probably 2 years. I mean, that was in 2015 in the spring.
Yeah, 2 years.
We did 2 years of that show.
Done over 100 episodes at that point.
And at that point, I was here at Collider with Roxy Stryer.
And this was still like untouched territory for me. Collider was.
Because I knew like Christian and Ellis. I had like met him once or twice. I'd met Christian probably 2-3 times. And some of the other people here, I probably had met Roca. I think I had fought him at Screen Junkies TV fights on a Walking Dead episode. Hector Navarro. So people that kind of work in the space. I knew some of the people, some I didn't. And
we'd had like Finstock and JTE on the show.
Because they had done Popcorn Talk stuff. So we sort of knew some of the people. But I remember I was here at Collider with Roxy, and they had just started doing Collider Schmodown. Like they had just moved it over to the Collider era. And Christian's, I've told the story before, but Christian's like, Roxy goes, he would crush it. You know, Roxy always trying to look out for me, throw me career opportunities. And she was like, Chris, he'd be great at this. He would crush this. And Christian's like, okay, I got one for you. What are the 3 planetary settings in Empire? Because Roca, the famous Bespin, had just lost on it. And something about the question confused me. I said planetary settings. I thought settings like on a spaceship.
You're like 68 degrees.
Yeah. I was like location and settings. And I kind of fumbled through the question.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, whatever.
He's like, okay, idiot.
Yeah.
You're never coming on my show.
And everyone's just like, shit, son of a bitch.
Well, because you'd kind of talked to me about the Schmodown a couple times.
I had like just seen it.
You just started, you're like, dude, you need to watch the show. It's like awesome.
Yeah, I didn't
like,
totally get it yet.
Yeah, but you were very intrigued. And as much to say so that when this moment happened, you were not happy with yourself.
No, I love movie trivia. I've always been good at it. And like, but I'm better now. But then so I was like, shit. And so right around the spring, as has happened a couple seasons now, Christian he likes to, in the earlier part of the year, introduce new teams to see if they can cut it. And the tag team division has gotten bigger. But in those days, last year, it's a year and a half longer ago now, actually closer to 2 years ago, he'd throw in a few teams. So we were a brand new team, and we played against the Night Sisters.
And like getting me, and I was like, I don't really get it. I was like, I don't really know. I was like, I like movie trivia. I was like, we have to be characters.
You watched wrestling. I never watched wrestling.
And I was like, faces and heels. I wasn't familiar with the term. You're like, he wants us to be heels.
Yeah.
And I was like, what does that even mean?
So we like put on sunglasses and did our suits like we always did. And we came in and we like...
Because he originally said he just wanted us to be like douchebags.
And so, our first episode, we played against the Night Sisters. We did like a promo video where I had like one like kind of offensive comment that I was like, Christian, please don't use that. Because I was just like trying to be a jerk. And he was like, I'll never use that.
Like, thank God, because that would be the end of Team Action there.
It just was like, we just didn't really know what we were doing yet. So we came out to the Top Gun theme in flight suits.
Yeah, we're like,
yeah. And it was sweet. We like buzzed the tower.
I still have that flight suit in my trunk. I need to give it back to Paul.
I still have the one in my trunk.
Really?
God, we're such useless losers.
You really still have it?
It's Jason's. And I'm living with Jason.
That is so wonderful that was a year and a half ago. And so we come out and it's like a pretty mediocre showing. We win.
Yeah.
We feel decent about it.
We like kind of barely win. We have a pretty bad first round. We have an okay second round, but they have a worse second round.
Yeah.
And we pull it out with a couple questions that at the time seemed like these victories. It was like, I can't remember what they were, but like at the time it was like, we're pretty good at this. But
you go back and watch it like, Jesus Christ,
we were like
so bad.
We were like 55%ers and our questions were layups. And it was just like miraculous we didn't lose to Emma and Joelle.
And like we originally were just like, I don't know what it is with this show. I don't know where we're going to go with it. I don't know if the audience is even going to like us. I don't think we're ever going to win a belt.
I think what happened was it was after the next match that this happened, because the next match was actually one of our...
It was one of the biggest moments in our careers in the Schmodown.
At the time, it seemed monumental. We came out with our mothers for the Nerds Watch
Somehow
match.
Both of our mothers were both in town visiting. Your mom lives in Washington, mine lives in Oregon.
Yeah.
And they were both in town the same week, and we were like, we can use this.
We have to have them here. So we put on sweater vests and glasses,
like
under our
normal
jackets.
glasses, not sunglasses. This was like the first time I think people saw that like, okay, Team Action is going to bring something new to the league because this is what we are. Like that shtick is what we are.
Totally.
And so we had the idea that win or lose, and I don't know if did you feel like we might lose? Is that why we had the win or lose plan?
Well, the win or lose plan wasn't before. It was after we lost.
Oh, really?
Because you're famously competitive, like very competitive. And I remember you were so mad we lost. And I remember saying like, we lost. It was great. The point we have to do here is like, we need to get on camera as much as possible. It's a new audience. We have this action movie anatomy show. We want to be able to bring the audience from that show, from this show to that show. So we need, like, we're good at this enough.
So what do we do? What can we do right now to endear the fans to us? And
Yeah.
like, why don't we switch it?
Yeah.
Let's fucking switch it. And so we pulled a switch where it's like, thank you so much. The competitors that did such a great. Oh, they're gone. They're gone. This is bull. Like, and then the real bad guys come out.
And we came out to that time Berlin, Take My Breath Away.
Which was like, Ellis made the comment.
It's weird to come out to the song that Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis have sex to with your moms. I remember like we like something that we at the beginning were like more into and we kind of grew out of was that at the beginning we had this sense that being funny in like a make fun of ourselves way was what we should do. And we've kind of realized now that like wrestling doesn't do that.
Right.
It is silly, but you have to take it seriously. If you don't, then the audience won't. So I was like, we should come out to Secret Garden, the Tom Cruise, Bruce Springsteen song from Jerry Maguire. And Chris was like, that's stupid. Don't do that.
Right.
Like, he's like, I guess Take My Breath Away is fine. But like.
Yeah, they were not sold on the music.
No, like it didn't make any sense to him. And so, and he's right in retrospect. Like he's correct. Like
You think so? We should use a different song?
No, I think the Berlin was better. Secret Garden would not have
Secret Garden would have been no.
Would have been silly.
It was a little creepy already.
And so we came out and we played a great match against Knapsack and Cushion.
We go to triple overtime. We lose by one question, and it's just a tough one.
It was just one of those matches. We played well in action adventure.
Yeah.
We made a name for ourselves. People liked who we were, but we weren't stars yet.
And we brought character. We brought a level of character that honestly the Showdown hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And this is kind of where it starts to kind of take off because we start to. I remember after that happened, you and I, the Movie Trivia Schmodown Facebook page is a very active group, and they're very active on Twitter as well. We started to see this outpour of love with the loss because I mean, again, famously competitive, almost to a fault, and I remember just seeing everything and being like, "Holy shit, dude! Like, they love us,
right? They
actually love us. Like, we're all they can talk about."
It was exciting, and so our next match was against Late to the Party, these reactors who we love. We love Robert and Vanessa.
Yeah,
they're great.
Robert and Vanessa are wonderful people,
and it was another great match. It was so close, and this is another great example of like sort of understanding what you're supposed to do versus what we thought was funny. We had this whole gimmick. We bought all the props.
Oh my God, I had a whole bald cap and makeup and everything.
We were trying to go with this Tom Cruise thing, and so the idea was that we were gonna.
I forgot all about this.
Drew had bought a bald cap and like a pinstripe blazer, and he was gonna come out with his shirt off.
Chain and everything.
And he was gonna come out, basically we were gonna do like Show Me the Money.
Yes.
And I was gonna do white t-shirt, jacket, sunglasses, and like scotch, like Cruise is
Like
after
him
he
on the
loses his
plane.
job. And I was gonna come out and be like, I'm starting my own league, and who's with me? And you would be like, I'll go with you, Jerry.
I'm with you, Jerry. And then Christian was like,
what the fuck are you guys talking about?
I guess you can. Why?
He's like, you should do something else.
He's like, you guys
all
are
these
like
props.
He's like, you guys are coming off of a loss, but it's one of the biggest moments in Schmodown history. Like, you guys are like kind of like on your way up. Why would you come out like defeated, like losers? Like,
we
why
just
would
wanted to do this funny
we were like,
gimmick.
oh no, it'll be really good.
Yeah.
Like, Drew's got a bald cap, and it was just like, no. So then last minute, I'm like, why don't we just grab these couches?
Walk these couches out. We say we're reacting. We make fun of them, and that's the match where we had some good ribs in the Nerds Watch.
This is like,
but Late to the Party is where we started to be heels
because
proper heels,
because we knew that something was at stake there.
Yeah.
If we lost to reactors, this was also one of the first times that fans had been brought into the league.
The first time.
It was the first time. We kept referring to it as a charity match.
Yeah.
Which is again like the charity match, talking shit. Again, Robert and Vanessa, we love you guys.
Yeah.
But we realized if we lost, it would be the end of us.
Yep.
It was the end of Team Action, and of course Robert comes out and goes 9-9 in round one. right?
He's a perfect round
Perfect
one.
round one.
And like their round 3, like you have the Herbie the Love Bug pull.
Right.
I remember, and they missed like blue chips. Like that was the first real match we had ever played.
Yeah.
That was the first. I mean, because Nerds Watch was good, but again, we weren't good yet.
We didn't really understand the game at all, and like we didn't understand the gamesmanship to the level we do now, and yeah, it was one of those things where when we beat them, that solidified Team Action is because also it was every fan wanted them to win.
Yeah, right. So we were just the
We
truest
were the
villains.
truest villains, the greatest heels. Like it had, and it's no slight on anyone else that was in the league before, but you can talk to anyone that's a true movie trivia fan. I think a movie trivia Schmodown fan, and Christian himself. The level of heel dumb did not exist until we came into the league.
There's also, I think, at that time, we're 3 matches in, and I think fans were paying attention, but the Patriots were on a run. Top 10 was famous. We weren't like a contending team.
We weren't a threat. We were just an interesting young new team that could
People
got a
started
couple
talking
wins.
about us. They liked us as heels. It was the next 4. So this is the second era. This is the tournament, the 2017 Ultimate Schmodown era.
This is like in old school when Will Ferrell blacks out and gives the speech. This is us.
And so we go on this run for 4 matches, and the matchups were it was deep cuts, Trek. The third match was top 10, and the fourth match was above the line.
And the shit talk and the level of heelsmanship and heeldom that came out.
Those first 3 matches,
It was genius.
it's like the golden era of Team Action is those first 3 matches.
Like you get us coming out to deep cuts with just enough, like just enough shade being thrown their way.
That's the Fuddruckers one.
That's the Fuddruckers picture, and that's where Tab came from.
Oh, fuck you, Tab.
Fuck you, Tab is one of the
So
greatest
good.
ever. And then Trek with like the laser, and then like Smell My Fingers. I just gave your mom the live long and prosper. Like there's so much good. And then like Inman gets so mad.
He was mad.
He was actually mad when we won because we were the worst.
So the same day that we played Trek, which was match number 2, and Trek had been a title contender at one point, so there was
They were a big team at this moment.
there was hype that we weren't going to beat Trek.
No one thought we were going to beat Trek.
So we beat Trek, and then I have to go immediately afterwards for a Fatal 5-Way. Christian was like, if you want a shot in singles this season, it's the best I can give you. If you win the Fatal 5-Way, then you'll get the 16 seed in the singles tournament to play Roka.
Yeah.
And Roka wasn't even a rival at that point yet.
No.
I mean, I knew Roka, and like we had, but
we still hated him.
but we hadn't. It wasn't like it is now. Not even close. And
I'm going to burn your house down, John.
I lose in that Fatal 5-Way by barely. I lose on the final
You lose
question.
on the last question, and you also make 2 mistakes throughout that are just like
Ones
they're
that I
mistakes
just-
you would never make now.
Yeah, they're the kind of mistakes that you can't say, never say never, because like I've made mistakes, but they're the kind of mistakes that I think if I was playing today, I really don't think I lose that match. I think I just play so much more systematically.
Yep.
And so I lose that match, but we keep playing. We end up in the third match of that tournament with one of our all-time matches. I think our first signature match is this top 10 Action 1. I think that's the first, like, people looked at us after that match like, these guys are a real title contender.
I think I disagree.
Really?
I think that the Nerds Watch is the first moment where people start to pay attention. I think it's when we beat Trek. Because everyone thought Trek was a really good team, even though they knew they weren't one of the best.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember the polls, dude. It was like 70+% in favor of Trek.
Well, but here's where I disagree.
And and really quickly, you and I were sitting at home just like, I can't fucking wait for this match to drop.
Well, do
we
you
were gonna
remember-
blow minds.
Do you have any recollection of what match we started doing the living room promos? Because this is something that I think it could have been Trek. It was definitely,
The living room promos are so good.
it was something that an idea.
Hey, losers, how's your brackets doing?
It was an idea that we had early on in the tournament. Like, why does nobody do this? Why does nobody put up these hype videos? They can just film themselves. Like, we can just drink scotch while we're like hanging out and put on a suit
shit.
jacket and be a dickbag.
Yep.
And we started doing these videos, and the fans just loved it.
They lost it.
It was so fun. So that was like when
That would be like the times when we'd post a video and be like, it'd been 20 minutes, we'd have like 300 likes and like 80 comments. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, people
this
just
is a
really
thing.
care. They don't care anymore.
We are tired old news. Guys, please pay attention to us talking about the history of Team Action.
But like this was around the time that those wonderful ladies started the Team Action fan group,
Oh my God.
Action Army.
It's one of the greatest things that's ever happened in my life.
It was such an exciting moment that we had these fans we'd never met before. Was it Helene?
Helene and Arena, and there was also Sarah, who was this. She's like, I think she was Indian or something. She kind of fell off the face of the earth, but they created it, and as weird as it is to say, you felt kind of like what Fame felt like for the first time, like real Fame. Like you had these amazing, adoring fans that also like you're just good people that I want to spend time with. Yeah. But they were like. They made us feel like superstars. And it was when the Action Army kind of formed at the same time of us beating top 10 for the first time. Matt Eisman's there. It's a huge live crowd. Like the shit talk is through the roof.
Also the phrase, "Where's the belts?" I want to say that that's actually in the Nerds Watch match. I think we say it.
I think we do at the very end.
It's either in Night Sisters or Nerds Watch. I was told there was going to be a belt. Where's the belt?
Yeah, where's the belt?
I don't remember which. But it's one of those first two matches that became our thing. And so the reason I say that I think that top 10 match put us on the map was that when the Patriots were on their run and they were just defending title after title after title, there was only a couple teams people talked about that really had a shot.
Well, there was also only a couple teams that had ever gone 4 wins in a row.
Yeah. And I think at that point we had beaten Deep Cuts and Trek, and people were like, okay, so they have a chance here to beat top 10, but they're going to lose. Top 10 is going to win this match. There's no question.
Yeah, and like they got lucky against Late to the Party.
Which is why I think when we beat top 10, the fans were like, these guys could actually win a belt. Like we were a 50-50 contender against Above the Line when we went into that match. People thought there was a chance. But that's also the Iceman match in top 10. That's why I say it's our original signature match.
It's our magnus opus.
Yeah. Because like Iceman is there and he's got all the and you're so in Roka's head.
Oh, I'm so in Roka's head, and also like I even talked shit to Matt at some point. Not in my head.
Oh, it's
must be the scoreboard then.
Yeah.
And then that's the beginning of the end. Is right then and there, because the next match is the true end of that era. It's the Above the Line match, and I have my worst match I've ever had. I go 3 of 8 in round 1, and I know 7 of 8 in round 1, and it's because I miss the one question, and it took me 2 years or a year and a half to watch The Social Network again. I don't know if it's because I misheard them and they made me think something else, or if I just was off my game, but I hear which actors portray the Winklevoss twins in David Fincher's Social Network. And I write Armie Hammer.
And Liam Hemsworth. I mean, it's no Giancarlo Stanton.
And I write Armie Hammer, and I'm just like, I leave it. And I'm like, no, they said actors. And then I tilt. I go into a straight fucking lose my mind. Like, the next question or question right afterwards is soon after is like, who plays the female lead in Ted? And it's like, I know Mila Kunis is in that. And then the other one, the one that even you look at me like, you're like, you got this, man.
The big fish
question.
The
big fish question. Yeah. Like Jessica Chastain and Billy Crudup and someone else are in this Tim Burton movie.
Ewan McGregor. And I have seen Big Fish 100 times. Never seen it.
I lose my mind.
But I get it right.
You get it right. I get it wrong. And that's just, and then we lose. We end up losing on like the 3-pointer.
Well, I think there's a couple beats to that match, because there's one thing that a lot of fans don't remember, which is that we took Above the Line in a match we played badly. One question before, like they needed to answer their 3 to beat us.
Yes.
Right? Like we weren't going to win that match, but we weren't that out of it.
And I also got asked a question about a movie that hadn't come out yet.
Right, The Lion King.
Yeah, which was like, I know now I could have challenged it, and it would have been overturned.
Yeah.
Or overruled. It's in the sense of like, I know that you can say something about a movie that hasn't been theatrically released yet because directors change. So there's a small gamesmanship there, and then there's also just like maybe the greatest team that's ever played the game. We lost
Above
one question away
like
from.
Ludicrous. Like they're so good, but I mean there was that. There was the fact that we took. In round 2, we took action adventure, and we just got.
It was like the hardest action.
We just got weird action adventure questions,
and we overthought a little bit on the John Rhys Meyers thing, and then also we played scared in the 3rd betting round instead of playing aggressive. We knew the answer. They didn't. That would have been a 4-point swing right there.
Yeah, it's always
a lot.
Hindsight's 20/20 in these things, and the reality is, at the time it felt like we were seasoned and veterans, but it's actually a lot more like Brett Favre losing in the Super Bowl in 1997. He's only been in the league for like 5 years.
LeBron losing to Tim Duncan in the finals.
Yeah, you feel like because you're hot shit, you're on this run, you haven't had failure yet. How could we have lost that? Looking back on it now, all the wins, all the losses, all the upsets.
We made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, but that's life. So this
is the beginning of the next era, because at this point you and I are exhausted,
totally burnt out, traveling like crazy, so much work,
playing like a match basically every single week
Yeah, when the winter Ultimate Schmoedown schedule is brutal. I had the same one this year, and it's like,
And the emotional investment, too.
Oh, yeah,
you care so much.
and so our next match is the stipulation match with top 10. We get, it's this whole you have to retire thing if you lose, and it wasn't that we were bullied into it. It was that the story sort of needed it.
We had to do it.
It was going to be ratings. That rivalry was great, and it's a great match.
We both had no interest in playing anymore.
But theatrically, it's a great match. We don't play very well. We bomb Ron Howard, and
you and I both have, I think, the worst round ones we've ever had. Like on top of
it's like threes or something, and they
3
played
and
well.
4, and then
we get knocked out, and you tackle Roka,
and I tackle Roka.
Becomes a very famous moment. It becomes this is the second iconic Schmoedown moment.
Yeah, and I think
for us,
and I think a big part of why this match does. As cheesy as it is to say, I always think everything happens for a reason, and I don't think that the league would have been a better place without top 10 and John Roka.
Yeah.
And I mean, like Matt knows he's his own thing. I love Matt, but he basically retired anyway.
Yeah.
Us making John retire and top 10 leave before that moment, it wouldn't have been right.
No.
And also the tackle coming in is such a monumental thing.
Yeah.
But God, that loss sucked, dude.
It was brutal. So I think we'll have to sort of consolidate a little bit of the next era. That's okay.
I bet we can probably go a little bit.
I think we'll give it 20
go
more,
a little bit.
20 more minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
So I think the next era here you can because we don't Team Action after that loss doesn't play again until DC Movie News. That's my singles career starts, and I have a weird. To this day, my singles career is weird.
You're barely ranked above me.
My all-time singles record is 4-4.
Mine's 2-1.
Yeah, we'll get there. And I saw, my singles debut after the loss to Inman, right, in the Fatal 5-Way as I played Dale, and I beat Dale.
Oh, Dale, the dude.
Yeah, and it was a good match. I played well.
Your character's it's not quite the boss yet, but he's starting to figure himself out.
I have the briefcase. I kind of do that thing. I was kind of working with Christian, trying to come up with some cool stuff that I want. I had the mirror angle I was doing. I never really quite committed to it.
What am I doing in this? I'm just done right now. I'm just hanging. Oh, I'm suspended.
Yeah, you're suspended for 3 months. You come off suspension. At that point, I've beaten Dale. I lose to Andraco. And we play DC Movie News, and the DC Movie News match. We do our little promo for them. We call Kalinowski a little mini bitch. And it's a great match.
Both of us play out of our minds. The shit talk is through the roof. Mike ends up leaving and turning heel, and it's just the greatest thing for Action.
Him getting James Bond and pacing and taking his shirt off.
Oh yeah. He was. What did we spin?
We spin
sci-fi.
Fantasy sci-fi.
Yeah, I think sci-fi fantasy.
We do okay.
We do pretty well. And he goes perfect in Bond, other than one.
And we have
he gets
to beat
11.
him with the Fast and the Furious question. He gets a much harder 5, and he gets the 30 Days a Night question.
30 Days a Night, and we get the Fast and Furious question. And you know what?
It primes us for the live event.
It's perfect.
Which is, I mean, this era we're talking about right now, this is the final to this moment. I mean, there isn't, after this era of Action, there hasn't been another one yet. But
are there 3 or just 2 phases?
I would say that there's 3.
Right? There's got to be the third.
I think the third is the
separation, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's probably part of the one we're talking about because we do DC.
Yep.
We have the live event.
Yep.
We sell it out.
The intro to the live event.
Our entrance is amazing.
Coming in, the lights.
Your stuff at the end. So you call out Merle, the Horseman reveal, all of it. It's this monumental, huge. That's the third.
It's
the third
definition,
iconic action moment.
It's the definition of what the Schmoedown is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's not about the winning and the losing. It's about the theatrics around it. And I think it's no slight on any of the other competitors in the league, but some of them don't have the bigger picture in mind, which is what Christian's been trying to push for so long, to where story is more important than trivia knowledge. And I think we found a great balance of both.
And I will tell you guys that, because we don't have time to go into each of these matches, but starting with this era, whether it's teams or singles, this is when we launched patreon.com/Team Action. So there's a behind the scenes 30 to 50 minute reaction available there for $1 donation. You can watch all of it.
Yes.
That live event's the one where we do our first one.
Is it? I didn't know that.
We also do, all of your matches during your run.
Yes.
So that's the next phase. So we lose to the Shire Wolves. Giancarlo Stanton is very legendary. It's a horrible moment for me. And whether or not we had gotten Giancarlo Stanton, we were still losing at that point. And I know from having played Clark in singles,
it's pretty tough to think that Rachel and Clark would both miss their 3 and their 5.
They're very good.
They're very, very good. But they could have.
Yeah.
You saw McQueenie and Sam miss 2
Yeah.
to remember the Titans questions. Anyway, so
But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You had an unfortunate first round in that one, and I missed that thing at the end. We do all the breakdown there.
we have an incredible showing.
You
for
have
this
this
crowd.
Yeah, the fans love us. At that point, once we do that match,
Your
once,
fake Merle is so good.
Yeah, fake Merle. Once we headline the live event, that's the Team Action, our superstars forever moment.
They are going to be a staple in the Schmodown forever. Like, if the Schmodown is something in 20 years, they will talk about how Team Action was the original heel team.
So now the next phase, there's two things that happen simultaneously. The first one is that you book a gig that's going to have you very busy and traveling a lot.
I booked a couple gigs, and your career also was going like this outside of entertainment.
I'm traveling like crazy, and both of us are having a hard time making ourselves available. So your Merle match happens. I'm in Vegas at a convention, and you beat Dan Merle.
I TKO Dan Merle.
So my singles career at this point is supposed to be, of the two of us, the one that Christian was all ready for it. He was like, you're going to have this.
And my storyline did not have legs. It was Dan comes back and beats me.
You were
supposed to be done,
ready to be embarrassed. And you're like,
100%.
Yeah.
It was like, you don't care that I'm not there. And I was like, fuck, I don't care if you're not there. I don't care if anyone's there. I'm going to lose.
If you guys can hear people outside, it's because the Collider holiday party is happening as we film this.
Which we are going to go to
yes,
soon.
my whiskey is empty.
I know, mine is too. Yeah. Should have doubled down. And then the next thing happens, which is I play Riley.
Yep.
And it's another thing where you're out of town and I play him and
we've talked
TKO
at length about
again.
those wins. There's reactions to each of those, 20, 30, 40-minute reactions to each of those available on the Patreon. But both of them were so inexplicable and so crazy and surprising. I was, to be honest with you, when I found out about Riley, I was traveling and I just sort of was like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do with this? Because at this point, I know that Anarchy is a thing that, they're dangling, they're talking about it. At that point, I don't know when it's going to be announced.
You didn't know that Riley was your partner yet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly. I could be wrong, but I think I knew that you were going to be too busy shooting the TV show and doing the Clash Royale gig to be in Anarchy. And so you got announced, but you had to pull out. And I was announced with Riley.
Yeah, it was going to be me and Cushing, which she's the best baby face and I'm the best heel. That
would have
I would have loved that, yeah.
But they win the title, and so she's not in it.
Yep, and so that is my official moment of bowing out.
After you beat Riley, you were the most legendary character the Schmodown had ever seen. There's sort of almost nothing I can think of that's ever happened in Schmodown as crazy as you beating Riley.
I mean, other than than Merle.
Well,
it's like
Merle was
two-time champions.
Event, but after you beat Riley, all of a sudden, people were like, well, I guess he's going to play Roca, and if he beats Roca, then what?
Then what? Then if I beat Roca and win the belt, then I'm like an instant Hall of Famer. But, of course...
I mean, I still think you're an instant Hall of Famer just based on everything, but it's ridiculous.
It's a crazy run.
And I'm off to the sides because Anarchy hadn't started, and I find out that I'm with Riley, and I love Riley. He's a great guy.
But he just got smoked by your old teammate.
Yeah, I was like, he's got rust. I don't know. I was like, this also means Action's not going to get to play for... after we lost top 10 in the stipulation match at the end of 2017, Action didn't play for 5 months. Six months we didn't play a match.
And now we came back and people were so excited to have Action back, but then we play Sharewolves and lose again, and it's like there's no place for us.
So once they announced the Anarchy thing, I'm like, well, this tournament's going to run. That's going to go through the end of the year, which means I'm not going to play a Team Action match until after Anarchy, which would be next year. I was like, all right, so that's crazy, and I guess that just means Riley and I have to do well. If we don't do well, I'm fucked.
And this is at the same time that this happens. That's kind of at the same time as I lose to John. It's slightly off timeline a little bit because you have a couple of matches.
Right after I lose to John.
Exactly. But it ends up working out great because I end up booking this stuff and I'm busy and my stardom kind of starts to go down, whereas you literally have become a superstar in the last few months of the Schmodown. You're just everywhere.
Right. So Riley and I are playing for the title at Spectacular. You have to play the Shirewolves. It's obviously a bit of a revenge game for me and for Riley, it's his old teammate.
I want you guys to win so bad.
I went so bad. I think that match
should air today.
Should
air
the same
before
day as this. Yeah, it might already be up. So that's happening. At the same time, I get thrown into the Gauntlet tournament after losing to Roca. I beat Janine. I beat Lon. I bring my record to 4-3, and then I lose to Clark. Just another
playing out of her mind this year.
Yeah, Clark is so good, and that's kind of up to right now the story. It's
been so weird too, because like we did this together. We joined this as a thing together. I told you originally I'd never want to do singles. I only want to do team action. And
got a better singles record than I do.
I have a better singles record than you do, and
way better wins.
It's one of the things where I am so grateful for the Schmodown and everything that it's brought to us, the fans, the extra social media attention, anything that it might be, but also the community that we are a part of.
Yeah.
And it's also like a really kind of weird time right now because I don't know what's going to happen next between action and what I'm going to do, what you're going to do with you and Riley and all that. And it feels for the first time that this thing that we kind of started together, we've become so large that we're not really in control of our futures anymore.
I mean, we have characters now and storylines that exist that are relevant without team action.
And Christian's a genius for doing that. Yeah, like he's a straight genius for the writing that he's done for this. And the fact that you and I can be solo entities in despite of team action.
Yeah.
And be this big still is just kind of a testament to like it's not about just the trivia. Yeah, because if it was about trivia, I wouldn't really matter that much.
People always say, they ask questions, like, will team action return? When will you guys be back? What's going to happen? And a lot of fans are like, well, if Riley and Bateman win the belt, then like you would imagine they'll defend it, right? If they lose, like people have all their theories. And to be perfectly frank with you guys, we don't get to make those decisions.
We really don't.
The storylines are secondary to winning and losing. So like
we get to kind of like decide what we say in the storylines sometimes, but we still run that by him, and it has to work with what's going. It has to coincide with what's written.
It isn't wrestling. The outcomes aren't determined. You have to play, and if you win and you lose, the storyline usually takes a different turn. So the kind of point of this, and the reason you guys are listening to this at the end of the year, the end of 2018, before season 6 starts, is we don't. I mean, it may be months before Team Action gets to play again.
Everything's up in the air right now.
Yeah, this could be similar to last year. It may be a while before we get to play a match together. We wanted to just thank everybody. We wanted to let you guys know that every week, if you want to find Drew and I doing stuff together, you can find us here. You can find us on Action Movie Anatomy on the Popcorn Talk Network. We're obviously both in the Schmodown, so you'll find us there. To what capacity, we'll find out. But
also patreon.com/Team Action, where we have all of that behind-the-scenes content. Most of them we start off as the bad guys in Team Action, then we actually break it down for what it was like. Like, so what were you actually feeling that day? And it's like, well, dude, I was nervous as hell. Like that type of thing. So, yeah, like you said, it's a thing to thank everyone, catch everyone up, and also like. This is where we are up to here right now, and none of us know what's going to happen next.
You're catching us live.
This is us live. You and I don't know what's going to happen next, just the same way you guys don't know what's going to happen next. So that's also a thing to speculate. I saw a ton of stuff on the online comments about like matches people want to see in 2019.
Oh, yeah, crazy stuff.
You and I were mentioning a lot, and there's just so much potential for just anything, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And that triviasd.com, check that out because the website's sweet.
It's amazing.
To be honest, doing a great job with it. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap us up for this episode.
I think so.
The oral history of Team Action. If you guys want to follow along with me, you can find me at Ben Bateman Media. The show is at Team Action Show.
Yeah, you guys can find me at Andrew Ghai, Instagram and Twitter. And of course, you can find the Action Army fan group on Facebook. If you know us from the Schmodown, that's where you should be.
Yeah, and be sure to like, subscribe, comment on YouTube here, the Collider Podcast channel. Subscribe, leave your comments on the Movie Talk feed on the Collider Podcast Network. That's where you can find this show every single week.
Yeah, make sure to download us on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One. Those numbers really, really help keep us up there in the standings. And also, I believe Christian said he's going to throw us on the main page of like Collider's Movie Talk page or on YouTube, which is really, again, we are so thankful for Collider and Christian in general for the Movie Trivia Schmodown and of course this show.
Yeah, so thankful, so excited to be here, guys. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys soon. End of January 2019 is when we'll probably do our next episode of this.
Jesus.
Crazy.
Time flies.
Watch The Spectacular. It's available now.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.